Record. So, all right, welcome to Tuesday's Truth Bomb Tuesday. And Jessica has been so gracious to post today to kind of like give you a little preview of what we're going to talk about today. And one of the things it hit me like a brick earlier in the week, and I sent Jessica a message. I was talking to somebody, and she made this comment to me, and I've heard it before. And I just kind of glossed over it a bunch of times. I don't know if that's, it just hit me. And this person said to me, and she was really a positive person, really had this great energy. And she goes, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. And I sat there with it for a minute, and I've heard it, I've done personal development. I've heard Tony Robbins speak, you always need to be moving forward. But it's so interesting, and I'm going to have Jess share this in a minute, share what she's thinking about this. But I sat there and I said, by doing nothing is actually moving me backwards. And that I need, or I want to, or I choose to, need to, if I want to grow in a certain area, I need to constantly be thinking of ways that I move forward. And as it relates to our health and whatever we're trying to do, you're either taking some action in the direction or you're moving backwards. Yes. What are your thoughts on this?
So I 100% agree with this. And I think that part of the truth bomb piece of this is that people are like, I have to go all in 100%, a million miles an hour right now, right this second, all second of every day in order to be moving forward. And that's just not true. It is true that if you take one action today, moves you one step closer, that is moving forward. The question is, are you moving forward at breakneck speed? Or are you moving forward at the pace of a turtle? Either way, it doesn't matter as long as you're choosing to move forward. Because if you're not even choosing to take a turtle step forward, then you are moving backwards. You are not creating any sort of progress or any sort of results in your life at all whatsoever. And I think that's probably the misconception around like, I have to move forward. Well, you don't have to move forward at the speed of NASCAR, okay?
And you're totally right. So stagnant is moving backwards. So not doing anything, right, is moving backwards. A small micro step or any step is moving forward. And, that's why it's like, and we've talked about this on our lives before about Mel Robbins, her 5 second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just do something to do that. And so what kind of happens, I know you and I were talking about, like, there's this apathetic, and I've fallen prey to this. I'm not going to sit here and like Truth Bomb Tuesday. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say like, hey man, I'm this guy that's like crushing it all the time. I'm crushing things a lot now. Don't get me wrong. But there's times where I'm like, oh. And it was so funny. I had to make a decision on something, and not making a decision is moving backwards.
100%. Well, and people get so hung up on this whole, like, what if I make the wrong decision? The only way to know whether the decision is going to move you forward or not is to make the decision and take the next step and then get feedback, right? Because it's the feedback that's going to tell you whether or not that decision was the right next step. So people get totally stuck. And like you said, they become apathetic. Like, it's a big decision. I don't really want to make it. I don't really see that it's important. So screw it. Right? That apathetic, like, I don't really care. When deep down, the truth bomb of that again is you do actually care, or you wouldn't have been considering making the decision in the first place. And becoming apathetic and pretending like you don't care is moving backwards, and it's not serving you. And it's more painful in the long run because now you've just prolonged your suffering by not making the decision.
Totally. I'm listening to this guy, and I recommend it, and it was just so apropos to what we were talking about today. This guy's David Goggins, and he wrote this book, You Can't Hurt Me. He's a Navy SEAL. He's done all this crazy stuff, and he's had kind of the worst child experience. So any excuse anybody's got, this guy's like hit it. And he goes, I love to fail. And this is what he says. He goes, I love to fail because I could pick it apart to see the way that I could grow out of it. And the military does after action reviews. So if you fail, just look at it. There's got to be some good in it and something you could learn. He goes, just don't quit. Right? Is that? I tell you, if you can listen to his audio book, audio is better because they do it like a podcast. This guy is awesomely insane, but he just says this and it hit me like a brick. He goes, man. And the question I have is there an area in your life, Truth Bomb, that you've been telling yourself a story that I'm signed to moving forward and I'm not really doing anything, right? But the thing about it is, like, internally, your mind is like feeling bad about itself. Do you know what I mean? So tell me what your thoughts are on that.
Absolutely. Well, you can lie to everybody else all you want, but you know the truth at the end of the day. I mean, that's why you get so tortured by lack of action, is then you start going into that cycle of coulda, woulda, shoulda all over yourself. And, you know, then that just gives yourself the message like, I'm not important. I'm not worthy. Insert guilt trip here. It starts that whole cycle. And if you're anything like me, that cycle usually comes with eating all things chocolate, which then gives me that allergic reaction where my butt swells, and then I feel even worse. Right? So Truth Bomb Tuesday, the more you stay stuck in not taking that next step forward, you're literally moving backwards. And if you're like me, your butt's growing as you're doing it, right?
It's funny. My butt doesn't grow, but my gut grows. And then, it goes to the Nicky Do Award. But it's like bread and pasta's crack. And then this
is like the butts and guts version in the wrong direction. This is the moving backwards version.
Before you know it, you got a biff. You know what a biff is?
Oh God!
It's a butt in front. That's what they call it, a biff.
Talk about moving backwards. So here's the thing about this is, I read this book. It's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. It's an amazing book. It's a little bit redundant, but it drives the point home. And here's the thing I wanted to share with you, because this is right on topic, is that this thing is that your decisions are already working. They're already working either for you or against you, right? And it says here, it's when it comes to like changing your diet, right? It says it's easy to eat well. It's also easy not to. It's not one junk food meal. It's the thousands over time that create the result. So eating a burger is a simple error in judgment, right? Not eating it is a simple positive decision. Eating it won't kill you today, but compound that over time and it will kill you. And that's exactly what we're talking about here when we talk about choosing to make progress, choosing to step forward, choosing to take that next step versus moving backwards. Because you start eating that burger every single day, butts and guts are not going to look good. Eventually, coronary artery disease is going to plow you over, and you're going to be like, what? I don't know what happened. Like, you can't lie to yourself. You know exactly what happened. You ate a burger every single day for 1,000 days.
Well, what's funny, and we talk about weight. We do. And, you get to weight off. There's a byproduct of that. And there's a byproduct of, like, so you have more energy. You bend over without, grunting when you're tying your shoe. You know what I mean? There's these tangible things. And, I know you've had it, and I've had clients that said, I can't believe how good I felt. Or I can't believe how bad I felt. And I didn't even know it until I felt good. Right. And literally after a week, people are like mind blown, right? They're like, what's up? And so, that's the joy of, helping people kind of transform their lives in whatever way. But a couple things that I'll say, and I share this a lot, and I know you talk about it too, Jess, is how you do one thing translates into how you do it, right? And that one thing that compounds, right? is the thing that kind of gets you. But the thing that comes up when you say, oh, I just do it once in a while or whatever, it leads to a story. Truth bomb.
It's a gateway.
Remember Truth Bomb Tuesday episode 1? The stories we tell ourselves about the BS. And before you know it,
absolutely,
you got a big can and you got a biff. And then you're like, what happened? And then here we go, right? You know, I know we've been on for a long time. We're starting to come down that Bermuda Triangle of excuses coming or I'll say 4. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. So,
right. New Year's.
The holidays.
The holidays. You're right. Well, and here's like the truth bomb in all of it, right? Every single decision you make creates a consequence. If you're not valuing the consequences of your decisions, they are always at work for you, whether they're moving you forward or backward.
They are. And you know what? Sometimes, and the weirdest thing is I listen to Tony Robbins a lot. He said that sometimes the positive stuff takes a longer time to manifest. The negative stuff sometimes happens quicker, which is weird, you know? And you just keep going, and it's like good is the enemy of great. So remember that. So if you're like, yeah, I'm good, right? Then you're like, okay, what does that mean? And before you know it, you might have a small biff or a smaller, bigger butt. I love the biff. I'm going to eat the biff today. Do you love the biff, Jeff? Yes, do you love the biff? We should do a post.
I've never heard it called a biff. I just call it a front butt, an FB, the front butt.
The biff. You got to love the biff. So if you just hopped on now, a biff is a butt in front. So when you got the biff and it kind of does that whole thing, But anyway, so any final words, Jess, on this? Any final words going on? Oh, I hear you had the dogs in the background.
Yeah, sorry guys, I got dogs. So really, like, our honest question to you is, what are you doing on a daily basis? Like, take a look at your daily routine over the last 2 days. What have you done? What have you eaten? What time have you gone to bed? Who have you talked to? All of those things that you do consistently, and ask yourself, did those things move me forward today, or did they move me backwards? Because that's really the truth bomb, is they are going to move you either forward or backward. So be conscious of what you're doing, and did I move myself forward today or not?
Yeah, that's exactly. And the other thing too is sit with yourself. Like, it hit me, like I shared at the beginning of this, like my mind was quiet and I was like, yeah, is there a spot that I might be stuck? And is the stuck because I'm not doing anything? Because the stuck is backwards. And then even making a decision, I think people are just afraid to make the wrong one, so they don't make one at all. Fail forward, and just if you fail, learn from it and pick yourself up. Never give up. All right. So Truth Bomb Tuesday signing out. Have a good day. Thanks, Jess.
See you next week.